Hey everybody, welcome back to Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Great conversation. They're back. Fred Van Lente, Ryan Dunlavey. They have done some amazing, really interesting comic books that teach us as well as entertain us. Going back to action philosophers and the comic book history of comics, and recent projects like Action Presidents, where they went into detail on the lives of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. The comic book history of comics was just fantastic and really took every decade of the comic book history and really explored it well. Now they're switching their attention to animation, which kind of went hand in hand with some of their comic book history, but they are doing the full-fledged comic book history of animation. There's a Kickstarter campaign. They're a few weeks into, or a few days into it, I should say. There's about 3 weeks left, and they need your help because I really want to see this thing happen. They always do such a great job with these subjects. Also, Action Presidents is being expanded. As I said, they did the chapters of Abe Lincoln and George Washington. They are going to, later this summer, release a bigger volume that will also include the lives of Theodore Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy. So that's going to be cool. But the Kickstarter is about the comic book history of animation, and that is primarily what we're talking about today. We go into a lot of detours of some of the subjects covered, whether it is Tezuka and his wonderful work in Japan in animation, but also the very beginnings with Winsor McCay in the early 1900s. Of course, we talk about Disney and Fleischer and UPA, some of the other great animation companies over the years. And it's a great, fun conversation. I always love talking to these guys. We usually do it at conventions, so it's great to get them for a little bit longer talk and go into detail on what they've got planned. The comic book history of animation from Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunlavey, the subject of today's Word Balloon. Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon listeners, my followers via Patreon, my subscribers to Word Balloon. Can't thank you enough for your support. If you like what you hear at Word Balloon, is it worth the price of a comic book to you a month? Is it worth $1 a month to you? If you can swing it and want to subscribe to Word Balloon is free. But if you want to help out the cause, patreon.com/wordballoon will take you to my Patreon page, or click on the front page ad on Patreon at wordballoon.com. But I thank you greatly for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. Word Balloon is also brought to you by Aftershock Comics. Aftershock is having a great 2020, and I'll tell you, man, from John Layman's The Man Who Effed Up Time to God Killers from Mark Sable and Man House and Undone by Blood from Lonnie Nadler and Zach Thompson and Sammy Kivella, so many other great creators. These are great genre-bending books that deserve your attention. They are there to join the pantheon of other Aftershock books like Marguerite Bennett's Animosity and Donny Cates's Baby Teeth. So many great projects from Garth Ennis finishing up Jimmy's Bastards to A Walk Through Hell. They deserve your attention. These are top creators and top new voices in comics. Matthew Klickstein, put him in there as well with You Are Obsolete. And also a new project from Stephanie Phillips coming up, Artemis and the Assassins. I'm really excited to read that first issue, talk to her about that. But these are fun books that absolutely deserve your attention. Go to their website. You'll find full story descriptions, preview pages, and the diamond codes on how to order these books through your local shop at aftershockcomics.com. All right, let's get into it now with Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunlavey. I think they are the masters of comic book documentaries. There's a lot of other people out there. The 9/11 report was done in a quite interesting way in comic book form. Of course, things like March, the incredible story of, Congressman John Lewis and his travels through the civil rights movement. But I got to tell you, for pure fun entertainment, and also a lot of information, you can't do better than the library of books that Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunlavey have created, from action philosophers to the comic book history of comics to action presidents, and now their brand new project that we'll be discussing today. They've got a new Kickstarter campaign for the comic book history of animation, the focus of our conversation on today's Word Balloon. I've got two guys. I always talk to them about their projects, usually at a convention, but thrilled to be having them via Skype. And it's time for another documentary comic book in the hands of Ryan Dunlavey and Fred Van Lente. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having us on.
My pleasure. Absolutely. Well, and I always enjoy your guys' stuff, whether it's been Action Presidents or Action Philosophers, of course, and the Comic Book History of Comics, and now the new project, the Comic Book History of Animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was inevitable, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. We had so much animation material in when we were doing the Comic Book History of Comics. It just felt like a natural progression to do, like, move on to another related media and do the history of that. Fred's been doing most of the research and has been finding I've always been a big fan of animation myself.
Sure.
But Fred has really dived deep into the research and found all sorts of stuff that I never even, this is like becoming an education for me, even though I even took like animation history classes in college, and he's finding stuff I never learned. So
that's cool. You want to tease anybody, Fred, with some of the little things that you'll be getting into?
Well, I've been sort of teasing a little bit on my Twitter feed today. I was talking about, and I'm terrible with names. I want to make that clear. Awo Takamoto, I think is how you pronounce that. He's the Asian American. He's a Japanese American animator from LA who sort of wound up in the Japanese American internment camps during the war when he was a kid.
Wow.
Met some people there who taught him illustration, or they really kind of encouraged his love of drawing. And then after the war, when he was older, he applied and got a job at Disney, and he was one of the lead character animators on Sleeping Beauty. He was the quality control person on Aurora.
Wow.
The titular Sleeping Beauty. Now the problem with Sleeping Beauty was that it bombed.
The movie bombed? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Disney had a real problem with features for most of the 20th century. Basically, everything from Cinderella to Little Mermaid either bombed or was done sort of so on the cheap that,
Wow.
It made a modest income.
Was it Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella where the old talk show host Mike Douglas was the voice of Prince Charming?
Oh, really?
I didn't know
one of those. Yeah. One of those, which is crazy.
The princes are so bland in those early movies. It's like, they're almost interchangeable. It's hard to imagine. Like, which Prince Charming? They're all,
Yeah. Well, that's what
it's looking like Cinderella.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, Cinderella. Cinderella was a big hit. Cinderella was earlier in the 50s.
Right.
But it was kind of the last hit. I mean, now we think of Disney as this total juggernaut, but don't forget, it had a huge. Its shorts were extremely successful. Both Mickey Mouse and the Silly Symphony series. The Silly Symphony series with like Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf and the Little Pigs would just rack up Oscar after Oscar. But after the feature Snow White, which was the highest grossing film of all time and the first full feature-length animated film, although it wouldn't stay the highest grossing film for long. Gone with the Wind passed in 1940.
Well, that's fair,
But then Pinocchio bombed, Bambi bombed, Fantasia really bombed.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
I knew about Fantasia, but I am surprised to hear that about Bambi and Pinocchio and Dumbo. How did Dumbo do?
Dumbo was a big hit.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
So Dumbo was a big hit. It was also really short, right? It's one of the shorter Disney films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But then the war happened, and Disney blamed a lot of these problems on the war preventing him from getting overseas box office.
Right, Germany banned his films, right?
Yeah, Germany cut off the continent basically from American culture and really its own internal, each country's internal culture. Fun fact, that's partly why French comics and European comics are so radically different than American comics, because superhero comics never made it to France because the Nazis wouldn't let them in. So when Superman was big, the French were like, I don't know. What are we talking about? Superman. And Disney, meanwhile, was basically an arm of the U.S. government. In fact, the entire Walt Disney Studio was turned into it was a defense, I guess they call it the War Department. There's a War Department site, right? You needed security badges and,
Yep.
to get in and everything. Now Disney partly did this because he was didn't like the union, so he thought he could put pressure on union leaders by saying they were, he definitely
American. Yeah.
When the House Un-American activities started in Washington, Disney was like the first guy to show up and denounce the people he didn't like in Hollywood. Like literally, they were unlocking. He was waiting there. He was camped out there. He was just ready.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen documentaries that have kind of played that out, and I'm not surprised that you guys are covering that. That's great. But also, I mean, I've been reading a lot of animation, either biographies of animators like Jay Ward, Rocky and Bullwinkle for people listening, and Dudley Do Right and all that, Fractured Fairy Tales, and now I'm blanking, but the history of the company was it Universal's animation with Mr. Magoo?
UPA, I think.
UPA. It was UPA. Absolutely, it was UPA. That was fascinating.
Oh yeah, there's a great there's a great book on all the UPA stuff. I'm running over to my bookshelf right now.
Yeah. I got the Kindle of it. Yeah,
Cartoon Modern.
Cartoon Modern. Yes.
Modern. Yeah, it's amazing.
And exactly the way they embraced a lot of the design aesthetic of the 50s, and really was. And I mean, every now and then, I don't know about your guys' TV, afternoon cartoons, but in the same package as like Tom and Jerry and stuff, they would throw in these weird, not Gerald McBoing Boing or Mr. Magoo specifically, some of their big stars, but a lot of their weird solo UPA cartoons. And yeah, they have this great 50s design and are very, very experimental. Or there was the one that won the it won the Oscar, the Critic, the Mel Brooks narrated one.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
With just it's just like it looks like a mural that you'd find in like a mid-century apartment, animated, and it's him just like what is this? Dots.
That's not funny. Dots. Exactly. Yeah. I paid $2 to see this.
UPA was founded by Disney animators, and I think some guys from Warner Brothers too, who were unionists, who got fed up with Disney's, maniacal anti-union stance. Yeah. So they actually formed UPA. In fact, Disney called, because their studio was down the river from Burbank. They called them the communists down the river. That's how Walt referred to UPA.
Oh man.
What do you guys start with? Winsor McCay, or does it start earlier than Winsor McCay?
We start actually earlier. We start with the start of film, really, and actually the what sort of preceded film for drawn entertainment, which was on the vaudeville stage, what was known as chalk talking, where a sketch artist would go up and just do, it's like Before Your Eyes would transform pictures. And I think we have a preview of it up on the Kickstarter page, where it's like, the artist would draw like a cabin and then he'd turn it into a bicycle, like just with a couple extra lines, and the audience would freak out and like, oh my God. And that was a really popular thing on the vaudeville stage, like in the late 1800s. And right about the time film was invented, one of the earliest films was this artist. It's on the Kickstarter. Is J. Stuart Blackton, who was this British cartoonist, was visiting the Edison laboratory, and he recorded Edison, filmed him drawing something live, and that eventually evolved into the first ever animated cartoon, which was called what was it called, Fred? It's Humorous Phases of Funny Faces.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
which was essentially a filmed version of Blackton's chalk talking it.
Yep.
And I'm looking at those pages now on your Kickstarter. No, that's great. And also looking at that period, as you call it, silent but deadly, funny, 1900 to 1927.
Good old Fred going for the lowest of lowbrow humor titles.
I'm a sophisticated artiste.
This is a published novelist, guys, coming up with this stuff.
You mentioned, of course, Winsor McCay, and Little Nemo creator. Obviously, people know, and some. It is always interesting that some people don't know about his animation work. Not only Gertie the Dinosaur, but the sinking of, was it the Lusitania?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
That was an amazing piece of work, and
so cool,
really got the U.S. into World War I. I don't think we have that's in our script. I don't think we included that in the history.
There's still time.
The first issue. Fred, revise now,
guys. It's evolving as we speak.
The stuff is a lot of his stuff is on YouTube.
Wait, never mind. That's more for me to draw. Forget it.
Well, and Gertie is that's amazing because again, it combines the Chalk Talk with him creating the cartoon, and I have seen silent films of that presentation, and that's really amazing too. And it predates obviously things like Roger Rabbit and Anchors Away, where you combine live action with animation and everything.
Well,
Pretty
even
cool.
it was like the first 4D experience. It's like live in the theater, things are happening.
No,
early animation, most early animation involved some live action. A lot of those early movies was just Edison was just filming random stuff, like a boxing match or like a kiss, right, or somebody sneezing. Yeah. And so him filming Blackton was another one of these, movies are weird. Let's, it's just a novelty. Let's just film stuff. But, Trip to the Moon and all those great silent, 19th century sort of quote unquote. I mean, everything was special effects in those days.
Yes.
So they were constantly trying to wow people with spectacular stuff. So I think that's why they wanted to include drawings with live action all the time. And Winsor McCay got very upset because his Little Nemo was so, fluid, and the film of his characters was so realistic. People were like, oh no, those are puppets.
Wow.
They had this conspiracy theory that he had faked animation. It sounds crazy now. I mean, or maybe it doesn't because everyone's obsessed with conspiracy theories now. But the audience in 1914, 1915 thought that it was fake. So doing Gertie and actually having timing his act to the, I think the point of the act was he was in front of the screen, so he couldn't possibly be manipulating a puppet. And the screen was projected so huge, it's not physically feasible, right, for Gertie to have been a puppet. And so that's sort of partly why he did it in the first place. Chuck Jones has a great saying about Winsor McCay, because what he did with Gertie the Dinosaur, which is considered to be the first piece of so-called character animation, Chuck Jones has this great line where he says it's like the first fish to crawl out of the ooze was Albert Einstein, right? And then what crawled out after him was an amoeba.
It's because he's not well known to, except for real historians of cartooning and both animation and comic books. The guy's a genius, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
pretty cool.
He could draw so well with one line. When he was a sign painter just starting on Cincinnati, they would send him, his boss would send out just on the street corner and just have people watch him draw stuff without ever taking his pen off the piece of paper.
Wow, amazing. So is Ryan doing all of these different designs? Is that fun, or is it a chore learning and aping, a lot of these things? And also, you're doing it in your style, but we recognize the characters as well.
Well, I guess that's the trick, for me to do it and not drive myself crazy. I've tried doing that. I've tried aping a style really closely. Not in this project, but in previous projects, and it drives me insane. I can't do it. I mean, I can.
Well, you started with Winsor McCay.
I did start it with Winsor McCay in Comic Book History Comics. I got to hit his section, and I'm just like, "This is ridiculous. There's no way I'm going to pull this off for 200 pages." So I just gave up and said, "Okay, I'll just draw it my way and try to make it look like, how it looks." I could do one page. I could do one drawing or one comic strip. That's it. That's my limit. I don't know. I'd cut my hands off if I had to do it all the way through. But
has the storytelling language that you guys put out on the paper, has it evolved from Action Philosophers to where you are now?
I think so. I think we're getting more and more narrative than we used to be. If you look at Comic Book History of Comics, it's kind of not quite a comic book, because every panel is different than the last one. There's not a whole lot of panel continuity. Sure. It's more like an illustrated essay. And now I think we're getting it more into even pushing it further and using the language of comics. I think it was from drawing 400, producing 450 pages of President's comics that pushed us in this way. Like that's it, which most people have not seen now. So you're seeing, this is the first thing on the other end of that. Like we've kind of not Fred, but I've kind of disappeared for a couple of years doing these crazy books. And now you're seeing where I'm at right now. Yeah, I know the smell was getting everybody. So that's what's going on now.
Well, I think also, Ryan, like
when 450 pages of comics, and your style and your storytelling is going to change.
Sure.
When we started doing Action Philosophers, also we started doing it was a short story format. So each philosopher would be like 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, and so we sort of retained that short story format with Comic Book History of Comics, which is the second book we did. So it's much more disjointed. Then when we did Action Presidents, which coming out in June from HarperCollins, tell your kids. That book is a person's life, right, from birth to death. And so that was a long form thing where each one of those books is 110 pages long. So what's fun is we're taking animation, we're almost doing a biography of animation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's
not a person, it's a concept, right? And we start with its birth in vaudeville and in the silent era of film. And we're going to bring it all the way up to its dominance now in the modern era.
Sure.
And cool. We also decided a fun thing, right, Ryan, where I just had this idea in scripting and you really ran with it, was we decided to make everybody animals.
Yeah. Because that was one of the most fun parts of doing Comic Book History of Comics was like, I'm just going to draw Walt Disney as Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just said, let's just do it for everybody. And,
we did that for the one bit in Comic Book History of Comics. But we didn't do it for all of Comic Book History of Comics. But we are doing it for all Comic Book History of Animation.
So what animal is Max Fleischer?
Oh, he's Bimbo.
He's Bimbo.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but with a mustache, with the Max Fleischer mustache.
Bimbo, who was Betty Boop's boyfriend, pet? Question mark.
We're not really sure.
It was pre-production code, so you know.
Don't want to know. You're right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, today it would be Fritz the cat, basically.
That's right.
Which, of course, I'm sure is also covered in the Comic Book History of Animation.
Yeah. Also, sadly, like a lot of these histories of art are dominated by a lot of white guys in suits, which gets really boring to draw. So, make them into a bulldog.
Particularly once you've drawn 440 pages of President comics.
Yes. Oh, my God. Why can't
only the ties and wigs change.
Pretty much. And just barely. It's like, Teddy Roosevelt's suit looks a lot like, JFK's.
Now, before I forget, because obviously we will focus on this Kickstarter and this book, but all right, Action Presidents, you say it's in June and 450 pages. Is it every president? I mean, last time I think we spoke, Washington and Lincoln came out.
Oh, it's 450 in total, the whole project, but it's 4 different books. So the Washington and Lincoln books are being re-released, but in full color. And then right behind those are 2 brand new books, one on Teddy Roosevelt and one on John F. Kennedy, also in full color.
Hey, great.
So, yeah, that's what's happening. So you'll get...
Interesting.
And add it up, that's over 400 pages of President's comics from me and Fred in 1 month. So the next time, when those come out and the first person who says, "What are you doing next?" I'm going to slap them. So, it's like, I just gave you 400 pages.
You can rest after that. It's all right.
I know.
You're going to be slapping a lot of people, Ryan.
I know.
I see prison in your future.
Jesus. The
book, high school guidance counselor.
That's right.
The issue, very nice. The issue breakdown. So the silent era, silent but deadly, very good. 1900 to 1927, and then issue 2, Looney Studios from 29 to 1940. So you got Disney, Fleischer, and of course Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes and Silly Symphonies, and then Worldwide of Tunes from 1908 to 1984. Very cool, and that. So you got Japan and Argentina, among other, France, of course. Very cool. And then Saturday Morning Funhouse. Dude, I cannot tell you, although that's interesting, you got it starting in 1958. and obviously that starts when Hanna-Barbera was strip syndicating all their stuff Monday through Friday. But as I understood it, Saturday morning cartoons really started in like either 64 or 65.
Oh,
as
really?
far as I don't know. And again, I believe me.
Right. Yeah, no, you're totally right. It's when you're talking about turning Saturday morning into a block solely for children's programming, yes, that was much more of that era.
Okay, because it was literally like the year I was born, and I was like, I was born the year that Saturday morning cartoons kind of happened and everything. But no, please go on.
Yeah, so we sort of do the lead up to that.
Sure.
Which is part of the reason we were talking earlier about UPA.
Yes.
Part of the reason they were so innovative with Gerald McBoing Boing and the Critic and all that artistic stuff and that abstract stuff was because it was much cheaper to produce. And that really, there's this great term I just learned today while researching this Twitter thing I was doing called pencil mileage.
Mm-hmm. Okay, pencil mileage.
So what the Hanna-Barberas of the world were always trying to do is reduce pencil mileage, right? Because you've got to crank out X feet. This is back in the days when you measured film in feet, not time, right?
Yep.
And that's why, Scooby-Doo keeps running past the same fucking background for 10 minutes, and you're like, what is happening? It's because they're just reusing the same shots over and over again. Even 8-year-olds could figure that out.
Yeah.
They're reusing the same shots over and over again.
And He-Man always throws the same punch, and
Sure.
Right.
Oh yeah, Filmation, the same movement for characters and things like that. Well, what I remember, and I imagine, Fred, may be part of your research, Joe Barbera did this incredible oral history video interview for the American Television Academy. And yeah, he was talking about how when he and Bill Hanna were at MGM, one of the accountants is like, oh, look at that 5-year-old Tom and Jerry cartoon grossed like within $5,000 of the brand new cartoon that we just had you make for $90,000 or whatever. Yeah, I think we're done here, and basically closed down GM's animation department.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then
that's why Disney stopped the shorts. That's why
Right.
Disney stopped the shorts. They didn't make any money.
There you go. And again, they had this inventory of other cartoons that obviously could replay.
Yeah.
And, make almost as much money. So, yeah, why bother investing in new stuff? And then, yeah, Barbera would have to, like, I know it was like, as I understood it, he said, like, what was like for 7 minutes of a movie feature, an animated short for theaters was like $90,000, and the budget they were given was like $9,000. And how do you, so for the same 7 minutes, but now television animation. So, yeah, you had the rotating same background, or is it right that they only animated like from the head up, and that's why everybody wore bow ties? All the characters.
Well, there's a lot more full body animation, particularly like the early stuff like Jetsons and Flintstones and that stuff than you'd really think. That's why character design was so important, and really the most important character designer at Hanna-Barbera was, callback, Iwo Takamoto from Disney, who I opened the show talking about, who left after layoffs after Sleeping Beauty bombed, and so they left. He went to Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, wow.
And he designed Astro.
Wow.
Jetson's facial
Sure.
dog.
Right, Rory.
Penelope Pit Stop is my
Classic.
first favorite.
Sure, Wacky Race is hot.
Adamant. He
Classic.
did Adamant.
Yeah.
Sure.
But he's most famous for doing Scooby-Doo. He created Scooby-Doo.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
And the story with that was that someone else in Hanna-Barbera, like, she raised Great Danes as a hobby. And so she was sort of showing, because they were trying to figure out, like, they knew the mandate was the executive at Hanna-Barbera wanted to do this radio show that he loved as a kid called I Love a Mystery, which I'm sure you've heard of.
I have indeed. Sadly, yes.
I doubt. Well, so do I. We share many of the same interests.
Attaboy.
But I don't think they had a dog in I Love a Mystery, but
No.
I Love Mystery is also for adults. This was for kids. Like, we need a talking dog, and they couldn't figure out what dog to do. But somebody Takamoto knew at Hanna-Barbera was raising Great Danes, and she was showing photos, these prize-winning dogs who all had these straight backs and these tiny chins and these straight legs. And so Takamoto designed Scooby-Doo is like the anti-Great Dane, right? The anti, his limbs fly everywhere. He has terrible posture. He's constantly drooling, you know.
Yes.
And it's just so it's just such a clever design and just so, personable. You can sort of see why that design was so huge and has continued. Have they ever stopped making Scooby-Doo cartoons?
No, it's
ridiculous.
It's unstoppable.
51 years later, absolutely.
Matt, for crying out loud.
Mr. Danvers. I would have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Exactly.
So, thank you.
Every time.
Yeah. But no, classic. Dude, are you kidding? And I sadly remember the premiere of Scooby-Doo when it was brand new. And my father and uncle going, hey, this is pretty good.
I just remember Scooby-Doo is the thing I had to suffer through in order to watch the Super Friends. I was like, when is this going to be over?
See, like the original couple seasons were great. When Scrappy-Doo and Scooby-Dum came in, it was like, all right, it's time to leave. Okay. What were you going to say, man? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Wow, I missed it. Is there a Scooby-Dum?
Scooby-Dum, he's
even more awkward.
And he's got a goofy hat, and his face looks very Mortimer Snurdy. And literally, he goes, dum, 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 dum.
Strangely
okay, now it's coming back to me.
Yeah.
So. Bad stuff.
Well, maybe I'm with this. I'm in the same situation as Ryan because I also hated Scooby-Doo because it was between me and the Super Friends.
Though, there was a great animated Scooby-Doo movie just a couple of years ago that James Tucker made before he kind of took over as the producer showrunner of all the DC direct-to-video animation films. And it was Scooby-Doo and, like, The Curse of the Blue Falcon, and it's set at a Comic-Con.
I've heard about that, yeah.
It's fantastic. And really, it's so great because the story is that they're doing a reboot of Blue Falcon and making it darker and grittier, and Dynomutt now is, like, kind of a mecha dog of some sort. And the old actor is accused of, like, causing all these various murders. But the best is
that.
Oh, seriously, it's so good. But
I assume it's on Boomerang.
Oh yeah. Well, it probably is on Boomerang. I would think so. But it's great because the scene of the crime is a Comic-Con, but all the heroes being displayed are all the action heroes from the Hanna-Barbera library.
Oh, like Space Ghost and
yes, Galaxy Trio, Herculoids. Oh, cool. Yes, yeah, it's fantastic. Seriously,
I saw a little bit of the they did one with Kiss, and it was so strangely compelling, even though. Because they use the actual music, and and Gene Simmons does his terrible acting for.
You do it, Fred.
Yeah, exactly. And
it was great. Runaway.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about. How dare you attack the acting prowess of Gene Simmons?
Come on, man. Hey, he's
more accomplished than me.
He wanted to be Sable so badly and petitioned really hard to get that role, which cracked me up. The John Sable character from
really?
First Comics, Mike Grell's character. Yeah, man.
That's like Glenn Danzig wanting to be Wolverine. That's for real. That was.
I know. Yeah. That's why I'm laughing. It's but hilarious.
He loves comics, man. I wrote the Kiss comic for like 4 issues or something.
Oh, that's right.
And they were like, Gene really likes what you're doing, and I was like, thank God.
No. He always says Superman helped him learn English, and was such an inspiration to him as a little kid. No, he's and same with Danzig, by the way. Sal Abenati, my buddy, who is Alex Ross's art dealer. He always
I know Sal.
What's that?
I know Sal. Yep.
Attaboy. There you go. He always tells me. He tells me about one of the San Diegos he was at, and Danzig threw this ridiculously crazy party, and like strippers and the whole lot and everything, and Sal's just like too loud, so he just wanted to go to the buffet. And he looks, and there's an old man already at the buffet with him, and it's Frank Frazetta.
Oh,
it's just like, what the hell are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
Remember back when Danzig was the highest level celebrity you would find at a Comic-Con? I did.
Yes, that's awesome. It's sad but true. I know, man. I just as we're recording this, it's 3 days since C2E2, and possibly the last convention that they hold. It's kind of scary out there, man. They announced obviously some people pulling out of Emerald City. I mean, it's a big enough local show that I'm sure
Dark Horse in DC. That's nothing to.
Yeah.
They'll want to be more, but that's nothing to sneeze at. Yeah.
And Oni.
I didn't.
There you go.
Oni also, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if the city shuts it down.
Yeah, I know, man. No, and in fact, C2E2 was at McCormick Place, the big, as you guys know, the big convention center in Chicago, and they had a houseware show planned for next week, and they've canceled it. And it's like 60,000 people were going to come in.
We couldn't get the nerd stink out of the building. No,
exactly. They were like, the nerds are expendable. Man, but we must protect the housewares people.
That's exactly right, man. Maybe the word would be better with a few less nerds. Exactly.
You said it, John.
I'll cop to it. I know. I'm raising my hand. It's all right. Oh my God. I know, man. It's crazy. So, and by the way,
this is my big return to the convention circuit too. I really picked you could be here for it too.
You guys timed this just perfectly. Well done.
I really hope TCAF doesn't get canceled.
Don't worry, man.
I'll go to Toronto anyways and just hang out.
We'll save you. And no, yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe we should organize if things really do get bad and nobody can travel. We should organize a few like Skype or Google Hangout kind of big teleconferences the way they've done it before.
Yeah,
and
Greg
everybody remotely chiming in. Yeah,
Greg Bach came up with that idea just as a joke, but now it's not a joke.
Yeah.
Sounds like you volunteered for it, Alex Craig.
But isn't that Twitter? How would that be different than any other social media?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, a lot of tech places are going to Skype or Google Hangouts. I guess you could do panels and stuff. I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, or spotlights or whatever.
My wife's company said no traveling.
Nobody steal the idea. Everybody listening right now, that's my. I'm copping this. Although, who did you say earlier? Already did it.
What's that? Greg came up with that idea.
All right, there you go.
On Twitter, because they're ready to go. So
put it on Twitch or something.
It does feel like a convention because the cool kids don't talk to me, and it's like
I selfishly have been monitoring the situation in the New York City school system because Ryan and I have and speaking of bad timing, we have a rollout there right now.
That's right.
And I'm wondering if they're ever going to shut down, if that ever becomes a serious problem.
I don't see it.
I think at this point, maybe not this week, but that's a really awkward segue to talk about our kids comic.
Indeed.
Ryan, take it away. Talk about
action. Oh boy, yeah. Hand me the awkward baton. Yeah, we did the city comic for the New York City Department of Ed. Brand new original thing. I mean, our work has been used as texts before, but this is the first time an educational institution commissioned us to do a comic, and it's called Action Activists. And it was aimed at middle school students, but I think grade school students are reading and high school students are reading it too. And it basically explains our system of government, what civic action does, and how you can get involved.
That's great.
And it was a brand new 20-page comic. You can actually read it for free online. They let anybody read it, and
sending you the link now.
Sending the link now, and the print edition is going to New York City schools, and the hope is that other school districts will see this and kind of steal the idea too. So,
yes, it's a great idea, man. And then certainly Will Eisner taught us decades ago with PS Comics with the military. That comic books are a very effective way of teaching people.
Oh yeah, they're an amazing way to teach people.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's great, man. Well, and like I said, I really think you guys have cracked the code on documentary comic books, and always entertaining. And Ryan, your art style is always that kind of perfect kind of parody, and a little bit of sarcasm in there in the best way.
Thanks,
and absolutely, man. And Fred, you're doing your hard research and giving us a great narrative as well.
We try.
Yeah, you succeed. Absolutely, man. So the stretch goals, you guys have just you crossed over your threshold. You made your basic goal, but that's for a black and white comic.
Yeah,
and for about another $8,000 where we stand right now as of this recording, it'll be in color, hopefully.
Yes, we're hoping to get enough money so we can hire Adam Gazowski, who colored the comic book history of comics, and we want to bring him back on board for this one. Although he's only actually coloring, was it 3.5 issues? Because we're so artsy. We did the whole first issue. All the early animation is going to be in black and white, and then the
sure.
color will kick in halfway through like the second issue.
Hilarious. Yeah, following the actual trend of
pretty much
animation itself. Absolutely.
If I follow that, I guess I'm going to have to learn, how to do stuff in CGI by the end.
I was going to say we didn't mention the 5th issue. We stopped at Saturday morning cartoons because I'm always ready to cry when I think about the fact that we don't have those anymore. And 5th issue CGI sensations from 1990 to the modern day.
There's so many cartoons though nowadays. It's like and it's just I hear when people, I have nostalgia for Saturday morning cartoons too, but there's so much good stuff out there. And for kids, sure. It's just an embarrassment of riches. I mean, it's so much better than the stuff that we had when we were, kids. And
no, you're right. You're right. And really,
it sucks that, you can't plant the kids in front of the TV so they don't get exercise every Saturday morning. But
my friend, Ruben Bowling, who does the Tom the Dancing Bug strip, was lamenting on Twitter the other day about how frustrated he was that his kids have no clue who Bugs Bunny is. And they just don't because, and they absolutely know who Mickey Mouse is. And it just drives them nuts because the quality of the Looney Tunes, and they're so terrific, is so far and above the Mickey Mouse stuff. And it just sort of drives them crazy, and just sort of wondering why that is.
They're a lot harder to get. That's the problem. It's like, I have them because I'm, and my kids know them because I'm an animation fiend, and I have DVDs of it, of all the Looney Tunes stuff, and I have it digitally, and we have Boomerang, so my kids can't escape, and they've seen Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny, and they're like, "Oh my God, these are amazing."
After Snow White really hit, Walt moved all of his best animators to the features.
Sure.
And so the shorts were just kind of rolled out as contractual obligations. So Mickey very quickly, and when Fantasia bombed, which was supposed to be, that was Fantasia and the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which was in 1940, was supposed to be Mickey's big comeback. He had been the biggest star of like the early 30s, but then he got knocked off the post by Popeye.
Oh,
crazy.
A much bigger hit.
Yes.
And he showed up because the Hays Code stopped Betty Boop, who was a big star, from being sexy.
Yep.
And she basically turned into this kind of like distressed housewife, as opposed to what she was before, which was sort of trapped in what I like to call a Me Too horror show. Like every Betty Boop cartoon, she's being, pursued by bosses or pirates or kings or,
Oh, yeah. Definitely damsel in distress. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough when you get whistled at on the subway, but when every species is like leaping out of the water and swinging on the trees to hit on you, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But they had to like tone that stuff down when the production code showed up in the mid 30s.
Sure.
And so the Fleischers came with Popeye, and the Fleischers famously came up with this goofy concept that's not in the comic strip, that Popeye becomes super strong when he eats spinach. Which is this big innovation, right?
I didn't realize that came from the cartoons. That's incredible.
Mel Blanc,
Thimble Theater, obviously the original strip that Popeye was part of and everything. Yeah, and he even came on as a side character initially. It was really more about Olive Oil's family, her brother Castor, and
he was just
he just
came up and like they were having an adventure at sea, and he was the guy that was taking them, and then suddenly he was a star. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just like Cat Measy, right?
That's right. Yeah, Wash Tubbs, Cat Measy, absolutely. Yes. I know. Right? Wash Tubbs or Buzz Sawyer? I always get there.
Wash Tubbs.
Yeah, it was Wash Tubbs. Okay, cool. Yeah.
When I come on John's show, I got to bust out the Cat Measy references.
Hey, man, I'm all for it. Exactly, I'm all for it.
I love a mystery. I actually have a little treat for you, or hopefully it'll be a treat, and if it's terrible, you can just cut it. But at the end of the interview.
Okay, good, because literally...
that I brought just for you.
I Love a Mystery and Pat Novak for Hire are my two favorite all-time radio shows. Pat Novak being a Jack Webb pre-Dragnet detective thing.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But, God, and no, they're hilarious. And especially Pat Novak, it's like the flintiest noir detective audio series ever. And it's like, she was as lonely as a warm beer on a bar stool or whatever. It's like, shit like that. So funny. Like great lines like that. Unbelievable. And just peppered like for 30 minutes. And I Love a Mystery. I mean, really, it like these regular detectives from Hollywood. Oh, we're going to a town where there's nothing but werewolves, or their plane.
Right.
They were very Steve Canyon, Terry and the Pirates Adventurers, and their plane is flying over Nicaragua. It crashes, and they come across a temple of modern vampires, and all like these like kind of half religious vampires living in this weird temple. Scary as hell. Scary as hell. Unbelievable.
Was it? But I mean, was Scooby-Doo really just a complete ripoff of
No.
I Love a Mystery? Oh, no. So I Love a Mystery, it actually was supernatural stuff.
Well, I mean, it was always proven. Well, in the case of the vampires, they were just this weird Nicaraguan cult.
Okay.
The werewolves were fake, but yet they were just these either incredibly intense suspense stories with, like, just horror elements to it, like vampires and werewolves, but even like slasher stories or creepy ghost baby. The thing that cried in the night is a ghost baby that's not anywhere, and all these weird people living in a house. No, they were amazing, and it was 3 guys, the A1 Detective Agency, and so Scooby-Doo was obviously Daphne and Velma were included and stuff. I'm always excited when, and not in any gross way, but I am always happy when I see Velmas being cosplayed at conventions. And there were several Velmas, and I'm like, yeah, all right, there's Velma.
Keep the dream alive. But so Harry Warner, like, famously hated cartoons. Like,
really,
he just couldn't stand them. Yeah, he it was really an afterthought, and he hated cartoons so much. Mel Blanc always said that Disney was trying too hard to like make people like impress people. Like, he really wanted people to like think he was somehow some kind of fairly elevated artiste.
Sure.
While Warner Brothers, they were always about the characters. So I think that's why. I think that's really true. Like, Mickey Mouse, frankly, particularly once the color shorts happen, doesn't really have a character.
Yeah,
he's
kind of a trademark
rodent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Goofy really has the better shorts.
The Pluto shorts are really good too. I think Pluto's,
and that's why Donald Duck has always been kind of a bigger star, more in comics than the cartoons. Because he just has he's a short temper. He actually has a character flaw.
Yeah.
Normal people can kind of, wrap their brains around. But Warner had so little. It makes you wonder why they kept the unit around for a decade. Famously,
it must have been successful. I mean,
Well, it must have made enough money that no one really gave them a hard time. Their studio was so terrible they called it the Termite Palace.
Yeah, Termite Terrace.
Termite Terrace. Yeah.
Termite Terrace. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then they burned it down, but then they hired. It's a long story. Anyway, Warner Brothers had so little interest in their product. They sold all of the. I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but they sold their entire cartoon library for like $5,000 to television.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And those cartoons, one each individually made like they each individually made $100,000 in advertising revenue a year.
Wow.
Year. And it's just like, what are you doing? So eventually they're like, maybe we should take the rights of those back. And that's why everybody knows the Looney Tunes, right? I mean, Ryan and I are 70s kids.
Yeah.
But we grew up on cartoons that were made in the 40s and 50s because they were so good, and the TV basically had it for nothing.
Yeah,
that's insane.
And every day after school, you come home and there's an hour of Daffy Duck cartoons and whatever else you had. It was great,
Channel 64 can run them ad infinitum because they're not paying any money. They're not. The licensing fee is nothing.
Mm-hmm. I hear you, man. And then, I know you get into, Japanese cartoons, well before the anime age that younger people might be aware of. And I know that the Speed Racer syndication thing was like poorly written, and that after they paid for the first run, they basically continue to run them. And I know a lot of local stations would run Speed Racer cartoons because they had that kind of loose deal. So it was costing them next to nothing to keep rerunning them and everything.
And that's the double-edged sword. That now everyone knows who Speed Racer. Like, Speed Racer is the most famous. Take that. Now I'm blanking. Iron Armed Adam is the Japanese name, but now I'm blanking on the Astro Boy.
Astro Boy. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why.
Right. Yeah,
take that, Astro Boy. No one in America knows who the hell Astro Boy is, really.
That's
They all know
hilarious.
Speed Racer. You know?
And I remember another black and white early Japanese cartoon, Prince Planet.
Oh, I never saw that.
I think that's another Translux. Translux was at least the American syndicator of Speed Racer, if not the actual company. I don't know what the Japanese company was called. But them and, like you said, Astro Boy, Gigantor, of course. I remember watching those as a little kid. Good stuff.
We used to get this really weird one called Marine Boy, who was basically a junior Aquaman type, and he had this boomerang. I don't know how a boomerang's supposed to work underwater, but yeah, he had some sort of electric boomerang, and it was just the weirdest thing. My brother loved it. I'm just like, why are we watching this? It's a cartoon. That's why.
So what animal is Tezuka?
Oh, we haven't figured that out yet.
Oh, okay.
What was Tezuka?
Tezuka. Yeah, what animal are we going to do for him?
Or make him a robot, I guess, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, John.
Say who's your friend. God damn it.
I'd go with Simba.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
The white lion.
Yeah, robots are easier to draw.
There you go. See, I'm looking out for you, right? Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
You really think that Astro Boy is easier to draw than Simba?
Yes.
The head?
I know it is. I've drawn them both.
That's awesome.
Probably true. Fair enough. You got me on that.
Figured out. That would look good,
I'm very excited.
Astro Boy with Tezuka's face.
There's a great story where Jay Ward, I think this was before Rocky and Bullwinkle, he just sold Rocky and Bullwinkle, and he was going to pioneer. Now that it's commonplace, and The Simpsons does it, and everybody does it, of shipping the actual animation overseas to save money.
Sure.
He used to have a Japanese studio do Rocky and Bullwinkle, and they go to Tokyo. And they go to the address that was given, and it's just like a vacant lot. and he's like, "What's going on?" And the Japanese guy is like, "Oh, sorry, we used the possibility of getting Rocky and Bullwinkle to get investors for our studio, but the investment fell through. Sorry."
Wow.
And that's kind of why Rocky and Bullwinkle looks the way it does, because they just scramble like at the last second to put it all together.
Well, and also, it was such a hit on TV that they had to incorporate a Bullwinkle puppet to host, like, in between segments and fill out a half hour. And also, I know too that I think a lot of, again, because I read Jay Ward's biography, and they were sending the stuff down to Mexico to be animated, and a lot of the earlier stuff just looked so weird and goofy, and it was, wasn't until maybe, into the next season or several stories in that the animation started getting corrected and stayed on model and was much more normal looking. But if you look at those first season, there's a lot of weird stuff going on and slightly weird designs. But it's a great story. No, I love the Jay Ward Studios were amazing. And in addition to Rocky and Bullwinkle and Dudley Do-Right and Fractured Fairy Tales and the like, those Captain Crunch commercials were amazing. Oh,
okay.
And they're still, and again, you can see a lot of early ones on YouTube. But I mean, really, they were funny. They're Jay Ward humor cartoons. Yeah, they're selling breakfast cereal, but it's all the old voices, and it's basically those same designs.
And part of the reason he quit, what Jay Ward got out of animation, just sort of threw his hands up and gave up, was that one of the spokes characters, Quist, I think it was.
Yes.
The network said he was too gay.
What?
Oh, yeah, they said he was too gay, and like, can you make him less gay? And Jay Ward was, he's not gay, and they're like, well, we know that's why you should make him less gay. And Jay Ward's like, but he's not gay. And like, well, then make him less gay. And Jay Ward says, I quit.
Wow.
And that's partly why he got out of animation, because he was
oh my god,
wow,
that's insane.
Crazy story.
Yeah, I remember Quist very well. Never caught the gay vibe from Quist. There was Quist and Quake.
Character wrong.
Quake was the big construction guy, muscle man,
right? Yeah.
And Quist was the little alien who it was part of his body or his head. He had a beanie propeller.
Quake was too. It was Quake. Quake was too gay.
That's yeah, Quake
really?
was.
He is a construction worker, John. I know he was a child.
There you go, man. Yeah, it's it
might not have registered properly.
And then Quake, of course, left animation and joined the Village People. We all remember that when that happened.
That's right.
So
he's one of the rare animation stars to make the leap to live action.
Yes, right next to the chief. There's Quake. Okay, there.
Him and Harley Quinn. You know.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh my god! By the way, new Harley Quinn cartoon, very funny.
I've heard great
It's
things.
like Rick and Morty funny. It's very, very funny. So, do Rick and Morty make it at the end of the book?
Maybe.
I don't know.
We
I
I'm
think
not
we
gonna lie
might
to
have
you, John. We haven't gotten that far.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure there'll be some sort of mention
Nod
of
to
Adult Swim, at least.
Yeah. Okay.
And the others.
That is,
And
if I may, guys, because honestly, I think I have this trouble with the word balloon book. Every time I want to stop, I'm like something new happens. I'm like, no, I want that in there too. I want that in there, and that's why the word balloon book. 15 years into this experiment is it's still in my brain and hasn't been on paper yet. So
that's why I prefer to write about dead people. It won't surprise you.
It's true. Yeah, there's not anything new from Teddy Roosevelt? No, not really. Okay, thanks.
Not yet.
Did you guys watch the Ken Burns Roosevelt's thing?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Wow,
it was a huge inspiration on the book.
I
think that's the best film.
What's that? Say it again.
I think that's Burns' best film.
I agree. It's incredible. Yeah, and really to go through Teddy's, life and family. And I mean, that's the thing, not only after Teddy's death, but to continue about all of his sons and Kermit and Teddy Jr. and all these men and women of the Oyster Bay Roosevelts as opposed to the Hyde Park Roosevelts. Fascinating. Absolutely. So,
Alice
and also
Roosevelt is Eleanor Roosevelt's arch enemy.
Who's
nemesis?
Who's
Alice Roosevelt, Teddy's oldest daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well, and I mean, Eleanor went out and obviously campaigned against Teddy Jr.
Yep.
Famously, when he was trying for national. office.
She campaigned against Franklin.
Oh, Alice campaigned against Franklin.
Yeah, I think.
Well, there was something about Teddy Jr.
Well, because the Teddy Roosevelts obviously were Republicans, and the Franklin Roosevelts were Democrats.
Right.
They sort of had that natural affinity.
But there was some. I thought there was some connection that was proven not to be true, but that they were trying to make with Teddy's son and the Teapot Dome scandal.
I'm sorry. Did you say? I thought you meant Alice. Yes, Eleanor campaigned against
Ed Jr.
One of the Roosevelt sons because he was involved in the Teapot Dome scandal, and she went one of her girlfriends in this car with a giant teapot on it.
Right, right.
Like
a paper
the equivalent of that. I mean, that was the equivalent of the Trump baby balloon, right? And
yeah, exactly. Literally, yes.
And she lost. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I thought you were referring to something else. But yes, that's absolutely what it was.
Hilarious. No, man. No, these little interludes are fascinating. Or, John F. Kennedy, to get her endorsement and stuff, really had to kind of prove himself to her and all right, young man, let me see what you're about before I go and endorse you and stuff in 1960. It was really fascinating. Really, what an incredible family. Good Lord.
Yeah, Eleanor really could be a whole comic unto herself. We'll do Action First Ladies next time.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
I'm for it. Absolutely. What was I going to say? Was it about the Roosevelts? No, I can't remember now. No, it's really, guys. I love what you guys do in this documentary comic book form, and I think you guys always have really interesting stuff. You come up with incredible facts about all these things, and that's why I'm really excited to see this thing come through. So yeah, and I hope you hit all your stretch goals. You've got 30,000 nicer hardcovers, and then. Now explain this. If you can reach 50,000, you will go to Japan.
Yeah, my wife was not interested in the campaign at all until I told her about that stretch goal. She's like, "We're going to Japan for all the comics you want." That's awesome. So yeah, but yeah,
I'm like, can you ask your relatives to give to the Kickstarter? No. Yeah. Talk to my relatives.
She comes from a very large Italian family. We're like, come on, send in that money. If they each gave $1, we would hit our goal. But
are you going? Would you like to go for research and to be able to do interviews? Other than, don't get me wrong, I'd like you to go to Japan. I'm for this happening, but
Mm-hmm. I need to go just because my kids are mad that I before they were born, and They're like,
All right.
you got to go there, and we don't go. Yeah. So.
Well, the Studio Ghibli Museum and the Osamu Tezuka Museum, and I think his birthplace there are both places we'd like to do research at.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, that's cool.
That's the main reason. And
Yes, there it
the
is.
food.
I'm going to go with yes on that. All right, I respect that. That's good.
And Japan is also a notoriously expensive country, so.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, if you go, you got to bring me back
Sky stretch goal.
a square watermelon. I know that's a big deal over there.
How
But
did you
we,
think?
sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Fred.
I was going to say, we've done well. We've raised about 11 grand in a week, which is nice.
Sure.
We have already entered the mid-campaign doldrums.
Mm-hmm.
So if folks
We're hoping
listening want to go over to the Kickstarter and get a book, that would be awesome. Definitely love to hit those stretch goals. And yeah, it's the comic book history of animation over Kickstarter. And we have a lot of cool swag there. Like you can get a digital subscription if you don't want a physical book. There's a hardcover. There's prints. There's I'm offering my scripts up with all the behind the scenes stuff and annotations and web links.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah. And a couple commissions, obviously.
Yeah, those went out. Those
we sold
flew
out
through fast. So
Yeah,
we had to add more.
Okay.
And we had, and since I draw the comic digitally, I had to offer just what I actually do is before I start drawing, I scribble the layouts right on the script that I print out from Fred. That's the closest thing we had to original, but somebody already got it. Somebody already snagged that.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Good.
But there
Good.
are some commissions up that we added. I think that's probably the only. That's probably the only ones we'll do.
The only
new.
premium stuff.
Ryan
Yeah.
has to draw a comic.
Yes,
Oh, and you also get Action Philosophers for free with every pledge.
that's true.
Oh, nice. Very
The whole
cool.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Damn.
Things. So
And,
it's our
and,
first Kickstarter.
and also we put together a special sort of condensed version of Comic Book History of Comics that just has like the animation history bits
Oh,
in
sure.
it. So that's going to come through too. That's part of the lowest tier reward.
That's cool.
And we've done self-publishing, we've done regular publishing. We'd never done a Kickstarter before, and we wanted to check it out. And so far, I've been very encouraged with the results.
Yeah.
Well, again, you got a good body of work that precedes you, and I mean, I think enough of an expectation from those of us who have followed you all these years and stuff. It's like, no, you guys know what you're doing, and it's always entertaining and fun. So yeah, and again, I think a natural progression from comic books after animation. Gaming? I don't know. Do you eventually do a comic book history of gaming or something like that?
Yeah, I'd like to do
Way
one
on.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right, I expect a cut of that one.
I'd like to do one on video games, but somebody beat us to it. So, but
Yeah. I want to say 10 Speed or somebody put that out, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fred's doing one on basketball. That's kind
Are you really doing one
am.
on basketball?
Yes, yeah.
Wow,
Done.
that's great.
Last week.
Oh, it did come out.
No, it comes out in September.
Comes out.
Oh, someone else is doing basketball. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, I am. I
Fred's
wrote it.
writing it.
Or 10 Speed. And a great guy, Joe Cooper, I did Magnus Robot Fighter with him. He drew it.
Oh, wow.
It looks terrific. It is done. Being proofread right now. The cover is done. I saw that last night.
Oh, cool.
Fantastic. Very exciting.
Hey, that's
Somebody
awesome,
else.
man. Well, when that's ready, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. What do you got going, Ray?
Oh, just this right now.
And yeah, like you said, I don't want to rush you and everything. So if you need to lie down after this, it's okay.
John, you get slapped first. No, what's coming next?
Oh, no.
No. Oh, good thing you're in Chicago. My arm's not that long. You know what? I'm sure I have something, and I'm just drawing a blank right now.
All right, no problem, man.
I'm I got to get away from Fred. He's got too many ideas. I need to bust out on my own and write
You're
something.
tapping me out, dude.
Yeah. No.
Well,
We can't
remember-
get rid of each other at this point. But
I remember the cookbook a few years ago, obviously.
Yeah.
You know.
And
So
we always, Amanda and I talk about that once in a while, but we're just too busy with other stuff. She opened up a second restaurant.
oh wow.
Yeah. So that's a big hit.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah. That's hilarious. Very cool. Well, guys, like I said.
So, John, like I said, I had something special for you.
Oh, please. I love a mystery, yes.
So this is either going to be great radio or it's going to be a total disaster.
I don't care.
That's why.
Yeah,
that's why we get to the end. So you can easily chop it off. So one of the great things about doing these pop culture books is the crazy reference I managed to find.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Strand bookstand store here in the city, which is this giant used bookstore, I found the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Cartoon Animals.
Okay.
Oh. And it's this big, oversized book. They used to have these books about superheroes. I don't know if you had a million of these. I had a million of them. Like crime comics, like this is like the pre-internet. Yeah, now these would be much fancier.
Sure.
So I'm just going to randomly turn to the Encyclopedia of Cartoon Animals and see if I can stump you.
All right, go for it. Oh, this will be exciting.
Just John or both of us?
No, yeah, if you know, Ryan, jump in.
I'll let John try first. So.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, I'm just going to randomly, and so this is like a prime picture. This book is 30 years old. It is made on the cheapest paper you can possibly imagine. There's a bunch of like comic book covers and stuff. So this is cartoon is very loosely defined. It's also animation and comic books.
Okay.
And much of what's in here is from the 80s black and white boomlet.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm the same way, right? Don't worry.
Okay, I just randomly opened to this page. Do you remember Jabberjaw?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jaws thing, and he sounded like Curly of the Three Stooges.
They did a great
aired on
revival.
ABC in 1976.
What's that?
Aired one season, ABC 1976.
I believe voiced by Frank Welker.
He made him sound like Curly from the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Well done. Ding, 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 ding.
All right, thank you.
They did a great revival in the 90s on Cartoon Network. It was they just did a music video where they were a ska band. And it was really good. Yeah, look it up.
Was it for Adult Swim? It's like
no, it was just in between shows, like in between reruns of Johnny Quest. They would show like these updated versions of the old Hanna-Barbera stuff, and they were called Cartoon Shorties, and they were the best because they were drawn like in a modern style, and they were. And I remember the Jabberjaw one because they were a ska band. It was great.
Have to find that. I love ska music. That's fantastic. Jesus, that was one of the great conceits, and I wonder if you guys cover it or we'll be covering it in the book when. All the Hanna-Barbera shows, much like Scooby-Doo, they would solve mysteries, and they had a band. Everybody had a band.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Chan's kids had a band. Devlin, the Evil Knievel.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Of course, Josie and the Pussycats. And
Dracula had a band.
Dracula did.
That's right.
The Groovy Ghoulies even had a band.
The Drac Pack, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I could never figure out if the werewolf was a guy or a girl in the Groovy Ghoulies. It was really...
I guess.
Are you ready for your next random page?
Oh, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, do it.
I like that we got 7 minutes. We killed 7 minutes of airtime with that. That
was outstanding.
That was outstanding, you guys.
Just one thing. Remember when they did that big revival of all the modernization of the DC guy?
Cartoons.
DC did it with all the Hanna-Barbera, sort of modernized them. I was dying for them to do Jabberjaw. That was like top of my list, and I was just like, I wonder how I can get in there because I loved it. That was, I don't know, Fred. It's like
you could do like King Shark or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good.
Picked exactly like my sweet spot, probably my favorite one.
Because before you get to your animal, my favorite of those was Brian Edward Hill did Black Lightning and Hong Kong Phooey together in a blaxploitation kung fu thing, and it's like there's nothing more perfect than that. I'm like, yes, please, that was amazing. So,
all right, next one.
Okay, so here's the next page. Do you guys? Okay, this one is really hard. We've gone from super easy to super hard.
Okay.
Do you know? Have you ever heard of Tippy?
Tippy the turtle from like the draw the turtle. To go to art school?
Tippy is a dog.
Tippy's a dog.
Oh, I was totally with Rye on that. There you go. No, I don't remember Tippy.
The comic strip's called Captain Stubbs and Tippy.
Oh, I know Captain Stubbs. Okay, wow.
Oh, okay.
Captain
Tippy is a hybrid, a little sheepdog with a terrier's head. Okay, what about Tippy Toes?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Horse of TV cartoon star Lariat Sam was on Captain Kangaroo.
Oh, okay.
Both of those are before you were born, John. So
yes. I do remember Tom Terrific on Captain Kangaroo. And he was kind of a little Tin Man guy. Go ahead. Last one.
Last on this page, Titano the Super Ape.
Well, of course.
Oh, sure.
With the green kryptonite vision that would sap Superman's strength.
Okay, according to the Encyclopedia of Cartoon Animals, what was Titano's birth name before he was bombarded with kryptonite or whatever? How he
Kong L. I have no idea.
Tiny Tano? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
When he was 3-year-old, Titano was Toto, a performing monkey.
Of course he was.
As a publicity stunt, his manager arranged with the U.S. government to have Toto fly into space on a week-long mission. See you later, Toto. Clearly, the Toto was owed back pay. Once he was aloft, this is like the worst spaceflight ever, you guys. Once he was aloft, uranium and kryptonite collided near his capsule. The resultant rays bathed Toto. Reporter Lois Lane is on hand when Toto's round capsule parachutes safely back to Earth. As, of course, she is. Always is.
Absolutely.
Upon emerging, Toto begins to grow at nearly 50 feet tall. He scoops the journalist in his hands, and Lois says, "I'll rename him Titano." clearly wanting to seize the trademark. Lois, always thinking, always working angles.
Always marketing.
That's why we love her.
Exactly.
That's why we love her.
That's why I hired her. Thank you, Perry.
And there's a lot of stuff in here about Lois defeats. So Titano kicks Superman's ass with his kryptonite vision.
Yep.
But Candy Lois gets the ape to mimic her. She puts on glasses, and Titano dons glasses lined with lead because, of course, in Metropolis, you just have giant glasses made of lead lying around. It's super ape put on.
It's from the same store where Dick Sprang used to get the giant typewriters for the Batman and Robin scenes and stuff like that. Absolutely, man. That's hilarious.
Thus protected, Superman grabs the giant and flings him back through the time barrier into prehistoric times.
Right?
Superman.
I remember reading
up the whole space-time continuum.
I remember reading another Superman story where he is in prehistoric times and he forgot that he dropped Titano off there. And Titano hits him with the kryptonite vision, and it makes Superman pass out. I don't remember the rest of the story, but I at least remember that opening. Yep. Oh no, I forgot Titano's here.
Do you ever get the feeling Superman's just not very good at this? He just kind of coasts by all the superpowers.
And also we're neglecting the fact that Trump announced that Titano is the latest member of Space Force, of course.
That's right.
Because it's astronaut.
The last sentence in the biography section in the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Cartoon Animals is, it has the greatest opening so far. In one of the more offbeat Titano stories, really, the lead glasses,
because the other ones are played so straight, so seriously.
Of course.
In one of the most offbeat Titano stories, Krypto becomes furious when, on a rampage, Titano destroys one of his bones.
This means war.
Flying into the past, the super dog plays various tricks on the hirsute horror, ultimately deeming Titano to be stupid but lovable. Krypto can also talk. I guess he thinks, right?
He thinks.
Yeah. Last page. No, that's too easy. No, too easy.
I was gonna say Tennessee Tuxedo, probably. Or
okay, here we go.
All right.
This is for both of you. This is the last entry in the seas.
Mm-hmm.
Cyclone. It's a horse.
right. Oh, I knew it was a horse.
Oh, okay.
Owned by which Marvel Comics Western hero?
Two Gun Kid?
Ding, 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 ding. After destroying the gang that had preyed on his late father in the Circle H Ranch, Seth Harder roams the land, righting wrongs as the Two Gun Kid. His gray horse Cyclone is an important part of the team. And I feel like the only other part of the team.
Yeah.
Else is hanging out with the Gun Kid.
I challenge Mark Wade to the next convention trivia contest, and Fred, you've got to bring the book. And
I know, right?
Wow.
I'm reasonably pleased. God, the last time I've done trivia on the show was with Julian Shauna Benson and Tom King, and we were reading from the Turner Classic Movies trivia book and Silver Screen Trivial Pursuit because they are like,
God.
oh, we know our old Hollywood. I'm like, all right, let's do it, man. Big throwdown.
Marvel published Two Gun Kin from 1948 to 1977.
Yeah. Oh, no, Two Gun Kin. Really good stuff, man.
So it started as a Timely comic, became an Atlas comic, and ended as a Marvel comic.
Absolutely. And, of course, famously joined the Avengers, was thrown into the modern era, and he was an Avenger.
Everyone's joined the. I think Ryan and I are members of the Avengers.
At least the Great Lakes.
I have my membership card around here somewhere.
Absolutely, man.
We're standing behind the Wakandan army at the end of Endgame. Just kind of peeking around, going, "What are we doing here?"
What are you guys gonna do? We're gonna get a bag of Doritos. You guys fight Thanos. We'll be back in a minute. All right.
Why is everything on fire? What's going on?
Oh my God! All right, gentlemen. The comic book history of animation. The Kickstarter is active. They need your help because we want to send these two boys to Japan.
Yes,
please. And we are live through March 25th, depending on when you listen to this.
Well, I'll try and spend this
21 days. From
today.
I mean, so yeah, the 25th.
Okay, because if it doesn't come out on the 5th, then
it's actually 26th, Thursday, March 26th at 8 a.m.
Fair enough.
You're right. Okay, fair enough. Sorry.
I'll do my best to get this out so you guys can make a little hay, and we'll hopefully get you guys some more pledges and stuff. Look, if you haven't already read the comic book history of comics or Action Presidents or Action Philosophers, trust me, great stuff. Go to the Kickstarter page because you'll see the first 7 pages, and it'll give you an idea of formatically and visually what these guys do with subjects like this. So, no, guys, as you said, as soon as you guys hit me up with the email and saying, hey, we're doing this, I'm like, of course you are, and happy to help. So, well done.
Thanks, John.
Thank you so much, John. We really appreciate it.
Cool. Was that good?
I think so.
Yeah. That was funny. No, and it was great bringing the book out.
I could do a whole show just flipping through this crazy Encyclopedia of Cartoon Animals books. $9 at the.
That's fantastic. I have really cool. I have Michael Fleischer's. I had the Batman and Superman Encyclopedia of Comics or Encyclopedia of Superheroes volumes. I remember seeing the Wonder Woman one. I didn't want to buy it, so I didn't. And then
any of these books, I probably would have killed for them as a kid because I read the official handbook of the Marvel Universe cover to cover twice. So
sure. Oh, hot boom! I love talking to Joe Rubenstein about those collections and stuff. So
what did he do on them?
Oh, he was the inker of the entire thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And he to be consistent, I think.
Yeah, and he corralled a lot of the talent too. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was his idea. It's like, hey, we should get Kurt Swan to do Gladiator.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, yeah, that's cool. So that's like only Kurt Swan's only Marvel work, things like that.
Jim Lee's first professional work was an entry in there.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't remember which one, but yeah.
Hilarious. So other than that, how's everybody doing? How's Crystal doing, Fred?
Great. In production, or in rehearsal, I should say, for a reading that's opening on Friday. She just had a show. Cool. Another opening on Sunday, so she's very much in the weeds.
Understood.
We're trying to get another play up and running, writing a script, so that's fun.
That's cool. Hey, would you guys ever turn King Kirby into an audio? Did you do an audio, or I forget? Forgive me.
We did. Midtown Comics did it. We actually taped it in Midtown Comics. It was a lot of fun with the original cast.
Is it up? Is it posted anywhere?
Yeah. They posted. Well, 6 years ago, so it's somewhere in Midtown Comics, iTunes. It's pretty terrific.
They do a podcast, don't they?
It's the same. Well, they did. Yeah, I assume they still do. It was the same audio reward we did for the Kickstarter, which was my last.
Yeah. Right, I remember that. Yes.
Did it use this exact same cast? Because they were terrific on the stage production. Yeah, wow.
They were very cool. They didn't have to do that for free, but they did.
That's cool. And everything's going all right.
Yeah, everything's going great.
Good deal.
It's been a good week. Well, for me, like the last week or two has been pretty good.
That's cool. Me too, man.
This whole Kickstarter thing has been very validating after some dark times. So
understood. No, I'm glad you guys are doing this, and I'm glad you're getting backing. That's fantastic, man.
Takes over your damn life, though.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Yeah, you get obsessed with it. I wake up every morning and look at the app and did we get any pledges while I was sleeping? So
No, that's
we do. So.
excellent. Outstanding. I'm teaching.
How are you doing, John?
I'm doing good. I'm teaching actually at Columbia College, where I think they were exhibiting cake that one year that you, me, and Crystal went, Fred.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. I remember that.
And they approached me right at the end of the year between Christmas and New Year's, and their regular audio production advanced class teacher got an offer to teach in Ireland, and they're like, "Hey, we got kids already signed up for the class. Would you be interested in doing it?" And I'm like, I don't know. Would I be interested in doing it? I'm like, do I have? I'm like, I don't know how to write a syllabus, and I don't know if I want to know how to write a syllabus. And they're like, well, you can use the old one, just tweak it. And they're like, just check out the projects that we'd have them do in the past. And they have to do like 6 projects in a semester. And I looked at the list. I'm like, oh, I can teach that. Oh, I can teach that. All right.
Nice.
And because I didn't want to half-ass it and have the kids waste their money. I'm bullshitting or whatever. Yeah, okay. But yeah, no, it's okay. It's a good challenge, good kick in the ass. But I also know I have a feeling. I mean, I'm only a third of the way done. There's 10 more weeks left. I don't like having to like swat the kids' asses to get shit done.
Oh yeah,
and stay on their asses and stuff. Because I'm like,
well, it's college. You're not really supposed to do that.
That's true. Yeah, you're right about that. That's true too. But I'm like, all right, if you don't want a good grade, okay, whatever.
Starting a dialogue class for Comics Experience, writing dialogue for comics on Tuesday, and I guess I should figure out what it is and what it is.
What school?
Andy Schmidt's thing, Comics Experience.
Sure.
Online
That's
thing,
great. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
he had to pull out of Emerald City, actually.
I believe it. Yeah. Jesus.
He was going to do like 5 panels or something.
Oh, wow. Shit.
There's going to be like 10 people in Artist Alley, and that's
for real.
That's it.
I know. I almost commented, and I know Jason Wood was trying to be funny, but he showed like an empty convention hall, and he's like updated Artist Alley for Emerald City, and I'm like, I almost wrote back going, yeah, it's really funny when people are losing money over a pandemic. There you go. Go to their website for their Kickstarter for the Comic Book History of Animation. It's pretty impressive. You can read the first 7 pages if you haven't been aware of what Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunlavey have been doing the last few years. Totally worth your attention and support. And I can't wait to see the new volume of Action Presidents coming out later this summer. But it's always great to talk to Fred and Ryan. And I hope you enjoyed today's conversation on Word Balloon, all brought to you by Aftershock Comics. They are kicking ass this year with great new books. John Layman's The Man Who Effed Up Time, I'm looking forward to in a couple of weeks. Stephanie Phillips's Artemis and the Assassins, but also great books like Mark Sable's God Killers and Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler's Undone by Blood. Really, really interesting books. There's more stuff coming as well from Aftershock that we'll be talking about in the days and weeks ahead. But these books absolutely deserve your attention. And also, more than just a first issue, you stick around for the second issue as well and really get into these stories. Great stuff, man. Go to their website. You'll find full story descriptions, preview pages, and then diamond codes on these books, and the way to order them through your local shop at AftershockComics.com. And, of course, Word Balloon brought to you by the League of Word Balloon listeners and their great support via Patreon. It means a lot. Patreon.com/wordballoon is where you'll get to my Word Balloon page. But also you can just click on the ad on the front page of wordballoon.com. But thank you greatly for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. Until next time, we got great stuff coming. There's a couple other episodes that are dropping today. My second C2E2 panel was Svengoolie. Great stuff. Rich Coase, a Chicago legend for 40 years. And it's pretty cool that in the last 10 or 15 years or so, that MeTV's audience has discovered Svengoolie nationally and can appreciate his level of humor, bringing us some of the best and worst of horror films, and his slice of comedy. I think the man is unique. There is no other. There are a lot of other people that do and present horror films along with comedy, but nobody does it like Rich Coase and his character Svengoolie. Rubber chickens abound. The Baron of Berwyn joins us for a really fun onstage conversation, and his Chicago viewers get to ask him a lot of in-depth questions as well. It's really, really fun. And, of course, I've got an episode of my review of Star Trek Picard, me and Franco of Oh Yeah Comics. We sit down, we're big Star Trek fans, and we shake our fists sometimes at Picard, but I'm happy to say that episode 7 had a few moments that we couldn't help but love, being longtime Star Trek fans, and I'm sure the other fans were appreciative of some of these moments as well. But it's an analysis, and also we're looking at episode 6 because of C2E2. We weren't able to give you an episode last week, so double-sized episode of my Star Trek Picard review programs. And as one of my Irish fans who came up to me before C2E2, he said, "I'm not clear on exactly how you feel about Star Trek Picard. Can you talk more about him?" Well, sadly, yes, I can. And there's still 3 episodes to go, but that's all coming to you later today on Word Balloon. I hope you join me. Until next time, thanks a lot for listening. Word Balloon is a copyright feature of Shaky Productions, copyright 2020.